Hi, today we're here in beautiful Paradise to talk about gowns and more with Nadine at the Ivory Suite.
Hi Emily, welcome to the Ivory Suite.
Hi Nadine, thanks so much for having us today.
Thanks for coming in, it's so nice to have you here.
Awesome, so tell us a little bit about your shop.
Our shop is what I like to say a boutique type shop. We try to keep up with all the latest trends, or at least the trends that are here and that we think brides will like. That's not always necessarily the same as the trends that are, you know, in New York and the fashion shows and things like that, but we do try to keep everything fresh, new, and try to bring in a little bit of everything for everyone here.
Perfect. So what should a bride expect when they come in for their very first appointment?
For their first appointment, so first of all, we do recommend an appointment. We do accept walk-ins, but with an appointment here, we have 2 private suites in which you would get. So, you know, it's comfortable for you and your family. We say you can bring like 5 guests comfortably. Some people have more than that, and we'll adjust, but we try to keep the appointment to an hour. We'll book it for an hour because we do find that you can try a lot of dresses on in an hour, and sometimes it gets overwhelming. So you can expect to have, you know, a full hour to yourself to try on your gowns. You'll have a private room and a consultant helping you for that full hour.
Perfect. So do you find a lot of your brides come in with samples or photographs of exactly what they're looking for, or do you have some that come in that are just completely baffled?
Oh, we see it all. Sometimes we have people, brides that come in and they know exactly what they are looking for. They have pictures, they have it down right to the type of beading on the dress that they like.
They have that vision.
Yeah, they have it. And then we also have brides that have no idea. Totally different appointments. Even when they think they know what they want, sometimes we'll pull a dress and it's totally different from what they had envisioned, and it throws them off a little bit. So we see brides that know what they want, and we see brides that have no idea. So it really depends. It's 2 totally different appointments for sure.
I know it's a really exciting time when it's time to start looking for the dress, time to start trying on. Who do you usually recommend that a bride brings with her when she's trying on gowns?
So we see brides that come in by themselves, and we see brides that come in with 10 to 12 people. What we recommend is to bring in the people that you trust and people that are not going to sway your own opinion. You want someone who is really going to, you know, help you figure out what type of dress you want. But having said that, everybody has different styles, so the bride style might not be the same style as who you choose. So we do recommend bringing in just a couple people who you really value their opinion, and they're really going to help you find your dream gown. So a lot of times we see mothers and best friends.
Yeah.
Sometimes when there's too many people, there's just too many opinions, and it gets a little overwhelming.
Hard to narrow down that choice.
Yeah, so first appointment, it's really nice when you see a bride and just a couple people, and then they can narrow down what they really like, and you can always come back for a second appointment and bring your full entourage.
Perfect. So is there a specific time of year that's best to buy a gown, when new stock comes in, or possibly if there's a sale?
So we have typically 2 major sales a year, in June and in January. So it's that's our big sample sales. It's a really good time to get a designer gown at a really good price. A lot of times that's when gowns are being discontinued, or just simply we are getting new stock in, so we're trying to refresh the, get the old stock out the door. If you're looking for the latest and the greatest, it really depends on the designer, because some designers have 2 seasons. They have 2 collections. So they'll have a spring collection and then they'll have fall collection. So we'll get new gowns like maybe in the summer for the fall, and then just after Christmas for the spring. And then other designers who only put out the one collection a year, January would be probably the best time for that. So it really depends. It's I guess my best advice would be to probably contact us and ask when we're getting new stock, because it really just depends on the designer and the season.
Yeah, okay. So when it comes to dresses, I'm sure there's a given that it might need some alterations. So what should a bride expect when ordering a specific size, or ordering and knowing that there's going to be alterations to the dress?
So yes, definitely, it's very rare for a dress to come in fitting you perfectly, because we are talking about designer gowns that have specific measurements, and of course we don't everybody has different sizes and shapes. So what we do is we'll measure a bride, and many times we'll have a bride that could be a size 12 in the bust, and maybe they're a 16 in the hip.
Okay.
So we have to order for the hip size, and then you'll need the dress altered in at the bust. So a lot of people are aware of this, but we do get an odd bride who's not. So we always try to explain this, and we always try to bring the dress in fitting, you know, as close to your size as possible. Also, some of our designers do custom measurements, so that's always an option as well. It's an additional cost, but I do find that that cost is a bit lower than, you know, if you had to get full alterations. Really depends on what you're comfortable with. And I guess the other measurement that's really important would be the length of the gown. They usually come in a standard length, but we do have the option to order extra length, and we also have the option to do a custom length. A custom length is very beneficial when the gown that you're ordering has a scallop lace edge, because it's very difficult to hem that gown. The only issue with the custom length would be we have to know what shoe you're going to wear.
Exactly.
So if we measure you today and you're in your flat feet, then obviously that's not going to work if you're wearing a 5-inch heel on your wedding day. So it's a good thing to consider when you are buying your dress, to have, if not the shoe that you're going to wear, but at least an idea of what the heel height, because then there is sometimes an option to do a custom length.
Perfect. So once we've been in and we've picked out a gown, how long are we waiting to get that gown back before it's all ours?
A lot of people are surprised to hear that it can take 6 to 8 months to get a gown.
Yeah.
So we do recommend start shopping a year before your wedding. Might seem excessive, but if you're taking 6 to 8 months to get a gown, then you want time for alterations, and you don't want to feel stressed or rushed about your gown, you know, arriving on time, and are you going to have time for the alterations? Having said that, we can get gowns quicker. Different designers have different options with a rush, so we can possibly get a gown within, you know, 3 to 4 months, but there's always a fee for a rush. So
okay. So you can get a little earlier if you have to.
If you have to.
that dress.
The other option is sometimes we will sell a gown off the rack. So if we have a gown that's fitting you pretty well, or maybe just a size or two off, then we can sometimes, depending on the gown, if it's not a new stock, then we will sell it off the rack.
So there's always the option to walk out the door with your gown that day.
Yes, and some people really like that option, and other people just would rather to have that new gown come in. So it's definitely your preference.
Perfect. And so do you have any advice for a bride who might be shopping on a tighter budget?
Yeah, my advice, if you have a budget that you want to stick to, keep an eye out for the sample sales. Like I said, you're getting a designer gown, sometimes 30, 40, 50% off, which is amazing, and you know that it's a designer gown. So what you see is what you get. I have a lot of people questioning ordering online. You know, it's a bit of a risk, because you're seeing the designer's pictures on these websites, but you're not always getting that designer gown. Yeah. So if I hear of a bride who has a tight budget, I would always recommend keeping an eye out for the sample sales, and you can get some really gorgeous gowns for a fraction of the cost. And for us, a lot of our gowns are only a year or two old, so it's not like it's been here for a long time, so they're usually in really, really good shape. So you don't have to worry about them being damaged and things like that.
Perfect. So if we're coming in and we are on a specific budget, can we mention that to our consultant and say, I'd like to keep it under this specific dollar amount and pull dresses for that?
Definitely, and for the most part, our consultants will ask what the budget is, and we always try to stick to that budget. Sometimes if we know there's a gown that the bride is describing and it's a little out of her budget, we might say, we do have this gown, it's a little out of the budget, do you want to try it on? Mm-hmm. We try not to pull any gowns that are out of the budget because we don't want that disappointment. We don't want a bride to fall in love with a gown and it be really out of her budget. Yeah. So a budget, it's really nice when a bride has a budget nailed down before you come in for your appointment.
Perfect. So Nadine, some brides mentioned to me that they're planning to start a new workout routine or they're planning to get in shape before their wedding. How does that affect the ordering of the wedding gown?
We hear that a lot. I don't think it's just with brides. I think everybody's trying to get in shape, lose weight. But having said that, we have some brides who want to wait to order. Mm-hmm. That's difficult as well because you don't want to limit your selection. As I had mentioned, some designers take a lot longer. So if you're going to wait to order, 3 or 4 months before your wedding, then you're really limiting your selection or your options. So if you are trying to get in shape or you're on, a weight loss program, I would suggest still going ahead and shopping for your gown. Maybe choosing whichever gown you love and then discussing with your consultant then what your goals are. Our recommendation is to order the gown for the size you are that day. Okay. Because it's always easier to alter a gown down sizes
than to make it bigger.
We hear often from our seamstresses that 3 sizes is kind of, the guide. A gown can be altered down 3 sizes. After that, you're getting into some major alterations, right? So even if the gown comes in and it's a few sizes too big, we can still have it altered to your size. But definitely, I do recommend still, shopping and ordering your gown even before you're at your goal weight.
So Nadine, it must be really rewarding to be a part of that moment when a bride chooses her gown and she's probably been dreaming of that gown since she was a little girl. Can you tell us a little bit about how special that moment can be?
Oh, we have so much fun here. That is probably the most rewarding part of the whole experience. I mean, you almost feel like you're a part of the family that day, and because everybody's usually hugging, there's some tears, there's laughter. It's really the best part of this job. And I actually have one of my employees, she works here on evenings and weekends, but this is kind of her fun job. She loves it here so much. And it's for those moments, the yes moments, because it's probably the most important piece of clothing you're going to buy in your life. And the day of, most people are talking about her dress. The dress is one of the most important.
It's the focal point.
Yes. So it's definitely the most rewarding part of having the bridal store for sure.
Thanks so much for having us, Nadine. It's been wonderful to be at the shop with you.
Well, thank you, Emily. Thank you for coming, and I hope you've learned a little bit about the whole buying your dress and the process that goes along with that. I'm sure you have many brides coming to you and asking you about that, and I hope I've helped you a little bit in that process.
And how can we get in contact with you?
You can check us out on Facebook or our website, www.theivorysuite.ca, or give us a call. The phone number is 709-782-5137.
Perfect. Thanks so much.
You.
Thanks for joining us for By Your Side. If you enjoyed this video, leave us a like down below. Getting married? Know someone who is? Maybe you really enjoy the wedding planning process. Make sure you subscribe to this channel and leave us a comment. For more wedding tips and behind the scenes footage, follow us on Facebook, link down below.